It's football season, so let's talk about the White Sox. They just won against the Tigers. We're feeling good on the South Side here on the CHGO White Sox postgame show. To the CHGO White Sox post-game show presented by Bet365. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary with our friends over at Bet365. Sign up using code CHGO365. Welcome into Studio B of our CHGO offices here in the West Loop of Chicago. I'm your host, Sean Anderson, my producer, Joey Christopoulos.
Happy week one of Lenyn Sosa month, or the NFL season.
That happened last year. He got hot last September, and it just never got cold.
20 bombs, baby. 20 bombs.
Year of Lenyn Sosa. We'll be talking about Lenyn Sosa, Andrew Benintendi, of course, Colson Montgomery, and the most important question of all, now that the White Sox have won today, they are 55 and 88. Or sorry, they are 55 and 89. Can they avoid 11 more losses, and can they somehow finish the season with 99 or less losses? We'll talk about that here on the CHGO White Sox postgame show. But apparently it's the weekend of accountability on CHGO, and I need to face the music. Even in the last episode, the last 5 minutes, I talked about Andrew Benintendi. James Fegan had a great piece over at Sox Machine where Andrew Benintendi talked about his struggles, and then I learned about the fun StatCast feature where you get to search player catches in the outfield by star rating. And I was like, oh, Luis Robert Jr. has had a really good year. I'll make a clip of Luis Robert Jr. catches. And of course, my mind went to the opposite of Andrew Benintendi being a bad outfielder. And I put together some of his misplays, as I put in quotes. But I did hear from some people that, you know, I'm letting the Andrew Benintendi stuff go on for too long. One of them, Casy Boguslaw, former writer over at Future Sox. He also has a blog, casyboguslaw.substack.com. Helped me a ton, I think, during the 2022 or 2023 MLB baseball season with Barrels and Blogging, his daily newsletter where I got to see all the barrel percentages for people. So Casey, you're a person that I know at least knows ball. So tell me at least where I'm off base on Andrew Benintendi and how I can make it right to Benny's buddies.
Yeah, I think I remember we first went at it. You know, that first season that he came over, 2023. Obviously, it was a bad season. Benintendi was not great. He was injured. He came in injured. You know, who knows how that played into the signing? You know, we found out, I think, right in spring training that he had a wrist injury. Pretty much had said he played with the wrist injury all season long. It was a miserable season. He came back the next year, and I remember we got close to making a home run bet. I think you lost the bet to Herb, right? But I tried to up it to 25, and I think I would have lost. He hit 20 last year. But then, you know, this year, I think he's just been one of the more consistent players. And even if we go back to April when this team, you know, obviously was not playing as well as they are now, none of our favorite players that are on the team right now were up at this point. Benintendi kind of kept the offense afloat as much as they could. He was really one of the key hitters. He had a couple injuries early. So, you know, I thought he was just a very, very consistent rock of this team. And who knows what's happening in the clubhouse? I certainly have no insights on what his take on like leadership and all that and how much the guys are getting off of him. But I'm sure, you know, as a veteran guy there, you know, he's helping out. And then, yeah, so I think there were a couple tweets, you know, last week that I saw, like, people complaining about him batting third in the lineup and how he's not an RBI guy. And there are better hitters right now on the team. That kind of got me a little irksome because it's like, you know, this guy is fine. And he does what he is. He's clutch. He's hit some big home runs this season. Yeah, he's bad at defense. I understand. And Sean, you were great. We all, you know, don't need StatCast to have it pointed out to us. But I just thought, you know, I was like, another low blow to Andrew Benintendi, you posting this. And I had told you I had not seen the Robert one. And then I was watching, the first couple clips, and yeah, of course, I'm a big Statcast guy. Have been since their induction, and have followed, every single new thing that they've come out with. And catch probability, like any of the other advanced sabermetric stats, has its flaws. And you watch those first couple plays that are in that clip that you posted, and it's like, well, that's not really his fault. That one's not really his fault. One was like in Robert's lap that for some reason is showing that as a misplay and by Benintendi. So it was just like, what are you doing, Sean? So yeah, I came at you, and then I got the invite here. So maybe it was all worth it. Maybe it was all a ploy.
Closed mouths don't get fed, Casey. So here you go. Yeah, no, it's good to have you on. And I think, again, I framed it in a way that I was trying to be factual, like here are his numbers. And I did try to put misplays in quotes, because you asked, like, did you even watch this before putting it together? And I was like, yeah. Like, even I think I gave you back a timestamp at 106 where Len says Beni got lost in the sun, so he probably made the right choice of not approaching that ball and just keeping it to a single rather than letting it get by him. So I did kind of want to leave it up to the viewer, which is always wrong. I should probably spoon feed everybody. And you're right. I mean, even with StatCast, if you look at the Robert one, some of the 60% catch probabilities compared to the 99% catch probabilities look a lot harder. So it is all about the actual jump, and that's really what catch probability and then outs above average and range really show us, is that Luis Robert Jr. is very good at getting a first step and being a rangy outfielder. Andrew Benintendi, not so much. And I think I just want to lead it to this point. I don't mean to give him a low blow, and if I am leading this hate train on, like, that is my bad. The lineup stuff I truly don't care about, especially with him having 18 homers. Like, there's two guys in front of him getting on base. If he hits a homer, that's 3 runs right there. So I really can't be upset about that. But it's just about who it stands for, honestly. It's Rick Hahn being in love with this player ever since the draft and just seeing that he was on the market. And I feel like, again, this isn't sourced, this is just my feeling, I think the White Sox likely had the largest contract offer for Andrew Benintendi out on the market. It's kind of tough to see guys or hitters really sign like early in December. He signs like December 15th at $75 million. And I think a lot of us are like, seems like an overpay. I mean, even now at this point, Michael Conforto gets $17 million from the Dodgers. Benny's making that this year. So it's like not the worst contract ever, but I think it's just more of what it stands for the organization.
I am amazed that you brought up Conforto, because I was thinking about Conforto as part of my defense of Benintendi's contract as well. Just that in that year, and yeah, the Sox, obviously were a little bit on the downturn. We were in the whole Tony mess at the time. And when they signed him, though, it did make sense from a lineup fit style, because the White Sox were very right-handed, and they needed an outfielder. They were playing Andrew Vaughn, for Christ's sakes, in the outfield at that point. And it did make a lot of sense. Yes, it was early, and yes, it was kind of weird that he did come in injured. But I think if that team was what we hoped it was, the team that we saw in 2020, if that continued to be, I think Benintendi would have made a whole lot of sense to that package. Obviously, the whole thing fell apart, and he was part of it. Yeah, I don't think, obviously, he shouldn't be held accountable for being the biggest contract in White Sox history. Obviously, we all have that to point to, and other fans have point and laugh at White Sox fans, or the White Sox organization as a whole. And I did always kind of feel like, when I saw your post, and I don't know why I take offense to it, but that it was, going against the player and saying, like, I have issues. We had a lot of issues with a lot of those guys from that team, effort wise. Moncada and Eloy and even Luis Roberts still. Benintendi's never showed us any effort questions. He's played through injury. He has come back from injury really quick. I think the guy seems great. You mentioned the Fegan article. He said he's never been hot here, which is, a little not true. I think he was really hot at the end of last year. And he's had some hot moments this year. But that, clarity from him, really shows that he feels like he hasn't even lived up to his contract, which again, I think is just, it's a great look at the guy. And I look at it from, I guess, the personal aspect too. And I won't look back on, and I know that we want to talk about this, if this is maybe the end of Andrew Benintendi and the White Sox, I won't look back at, like, he was such a failed, free agent that came in here, like, Adam Dunn's of the world or whatever.
I was even going to bring up Dunn too. It's like, I'm not even mad at the Dunn thing. Like, I feel like as White Sox fans, having the conversation of worst free agent signing is pretty pointless because, like, go make as many free agent signings as you want and let us make all of those discussions. Like, the list should be
100%.
bigger, right? So, like, when Dunn has this terrible first year, the last 2 years were okay with him. And it's kind of like similar to what Beni was doing. Like, Dunn turned into the 3 true outcomes, at least in his last 2 years. He wasn't that in the first year. Benny's been fine. He hasn't been awful. John Hosey in the chat saying Beni is just okay, which can be sometimes more annoying than being god awful. And I agree. And with Beni too, though, like, because of StatCast, and maybe this is just my brain working or going too much, because like I felt like I smelled this out, this like kind of poor play from before they signed him. Like, his defense wasn't the Gold Glove that he won in 2021. I felt like that was a little bit overrated. And then you just look at his walk rate, like, he never had 70 walks after 2018. And it just felt like Rick Hahn was like, oh, well, that player's in there. And we know who players are. And that was always their scouting report, was like, oh, well, what we first learned about the player is always true. And like, they never really readjust it or use those advanced stats that seem readily available to everyone, which is now something Chris Getz is doing.
If the Royals liked the player, then Rick Hahn definitely liked it. So
there you go.
The Royals
it was
have
Pedro Grifal's seal of approval got Andrew Benintendi on the south side. But yeah, we can move away from Andrew Benintendi. There's a lot more fun things happening on the south side. Is it Colson Montgomery mania for you, or is it Teel and Quero? I know you're excited about them hitting 1-2.
Yeah, of course. How could I not be excited about Colson Montgomery? I mean, especially because this is so unexpected for many of us. I mean, when we saw him get sent down to Arizona, myself, like everyone else, it was kind of like, is this the end? And clearly it was the beginning. Whatever happened there between that and the bringing him up to the majors has worked. You do kind of, just as a White Sox fan with our history, to bring up another name, Daniel Palka, is this just Daniel Palka Jr. is, next year, this is not going to, all be, a faint memory, or Yermin Mercedes, whatever, you do hope that, obviously it's real and he can build off this. The other thing that, why he's not Daniel Palka or Yermin Mercedes is he's so good at defense too. So he'll always have that floor to fall to, even if he does struggle and does, start striking out more. At least the defense is so good. And, that was also a concern that we had, could he be a shortstop at this level? And he's great. But yeah, for my money, I would put, I'm a gambling man, I would put it all behind Kyle Teel. I think he is the true deal. Even more, I have more faith in his abilities to continue this in the next season and beyond, because I just love the player that he is, the energy, how much, he's improved behind the plate. I think he's just going to be such an important piece, and the piece that they, I think will be the top of, who they're going to build behind for this, hopefully next push to whatever they can become.
Thing that I've been debating with Teel, and I think this is probably more important than asking you about Robert's option in 2026 than Lenyn, so we could scrap those questions. With Quero and Teel both having their main position being catcher, do you think because of Teal's left-handed bat and seemingly the ability to just hit more like a corner, do you think it would be in their benefit to possibly move him, have Quero like catch 100 games, have Teel maybe play left field for 60 and then catch for 60? Like, do you think that is going to happen this offseason, or do you think that's far-fetched? Catchers are so valuable, you don't want to move Kyle Teel off catcher because he could be, one of the best catchers out there. I don't know.
I think I would be shocked if it happens this offseason, maybe down the line, especially if they do kind of see where they're at, hopefully, we're all hoping that they go out and spend some money this offseason and find, we all feel like they're, one true designated hitter / first baseman bat away from really making this offense be what they've been since the All-Star break and continue to improve on that in the next year. So, I think the value of both those two and Corey Lee, just having that person in your back pocket as well, being, having so much trade value at the most important position in baseball, at least, top two. I think they want to keep that value where it is right now and then figure it out down the line. So I'm perfectly fine going into it with a two-headed monster, with Kyle Teel or with Corey Lee in their back pocket, and keeping those guys a catcher. I think Teal's been a little bit better back there. So, other than Quero's like pickoffs, but Teal's been better, I think, with the pitchers. So yeah, like you said, even if the numbers do stay same, and they don't have a DH right now, so you would still, have that if they do want to play two catchers at the same time, which is another conversation.
Very fair. And we've seen that run into issues. Quero had a ball hit off his mask, and then Teel was already taken out of the game. So it's like, all right, who's going to catch? Teel had a ball hit off his hand earlier. So if he comes out, they now with Lee on the roster, I guess they can avoid that. But yeah, no, it could get sticky if those are the only two on the roster. And hey, just to bring up to your point, Corey Lee having value, Martin Maldonado is catching for a playoff team in 2025. So Corey Lee could probably start for a team on a playoff team. Casey, we'll end it here. We'll let you get back to football. We appreciate you joining us. Follow Casey at Casy Boguslaw. You can check out his Substack too, CasyBoguslaw.substack.com. Appreciate your time, Casey. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me, Sean.
No problem. We have to take a break here. I've been enjoying RC Zero Sugar. So let's tell you about RC here on the CHGO White Sox postgame show. We want to let you know about our great presenting sponsor, Bet365. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary with our friends over at Bet365. Sign up with code CHGO365 when you sign up. New customers now get $300 in bonus bets when you bet $5 win or lose. And I am loving the start of week one because I am back in the throes of gambling. Woohoo! I was able, even though I'm not even a new customer, I got an offer, a fun special offer from Bet365 where if I deposited $25, I got $50 in bonus bets. So we had 3 bets go out, right now, and I'm sweating a Jonathan Taylor injury. Can Jonathan Taylor get 2 more carries? Because then I win my bet. Yay. Or is he injured? And will he just completely miss the fourth quarter? That's the fun of betting. Download the app today. Use code CHGO365. Check out Bet365's amazing NFL offers that happen throughout the season, like on Thursday Night Football, Sunday Night Football, and Monday Night Football. Use the code CHGO365 when you sign up. Deposit $10. Place a bet for $5 to get $300 in bonus bets if your bet wins or loses. Must be 21 plus. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem, crisis counseling and referral services can be accessed by calling 1-800-GAMBLER. We also want to let you know about our friends over at RC Cola. How do you know a pizza place in Chicago is true and authentic? They have RC in the fridge. And I am a very, very happy boy because not only is that classic RC flavor that has been there since 1905 still around, RC hasn't changed its stripes since 1905 because it hasn't had to. It's no trends, no gimmicks, no glow-ups. However, there is now a zero sugar RC. And let me tell you, I had that for the first time today, and boy, that is something special, folks. I really enjoyed the RC Zero Sugar. So whether it's real RC or Zero Sugar RC, check out the same bold, crisp flavor that it's always been. RC Cola tastes like a punch in the thirst. Do yourself a favor, grab some RC at your local store. Stock up for all your end of summer parties, back-to-school celebrations, or just watching the game. RC, it's the move for whatever you're doing. Welcome back to the CHGO White Sox postgame show presented to you by Bet365. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary with our friends over at Bet365. Use code CHGO365 when you sign up. Huge thank you to Casey Boguslaw for joining us. Hopefully, if people have been getting annoyed by my Andrew Benintendi slander, that hopefully redeemed this show and this company. Honestly, we need it. Man, we're in the toilets, huh? Hit that thumbs up button if you haven't already. Make sure you're subscribing to the CHGO Sports YouTube channel. We are excited to have you here. Let's take the temperature with our friends over at Four Seasons. Call 866-4 Seasons. Four Seasons Heating, Air Conditioning, Plumbing, and Electric. You can visit fourseasonsheatingcooling.com for money-saving coupons, and you can check them out because they're good friends over here at CHGO. Let's go to the comment section because the Giggities brings up a very, very good point. I don't think many realize the positive war Montgomery is grading out defensively. Folks, I need you to sit down. On Friday, Colson Montgomery hit his 18th home run. That was in his 51st game. He's played 2 more games, and now he's at 53 games. Colson Montgomery in those 53 games has been worth 2.6 WAR. If you look, since 2020, the COVID year, which had players play around 50 games, Colson Montgomery is the 9th most valuable player in a single season for the White Sox since 2020. Luis Robert Jr., 5.3 WAR in 2023. That's 145 games. Tim Anderson, 4.5 B-WAR in 2021, 123 games. Jose Abreu in 2022, 4.3 B-WAR in 157 games. Yohan Moncada, 4.1 B-WAR in 2021, 144 games played. Yasmani Grandal, 3.7 B-WAR, 2021, 93 games played. Luis Robert Jr., 3.7 B-WAR in 2021 in 68 games. So that's probably the only comparison to Colson Montgomery. Also kind of tells you how good Luis Robert Jr. is. Jose Abreu, 3 WAR in 2021 in 152 games. Jose Abreu, 2.7 WAR, 2020 in 60 games played. That was his MVP season. That's who Colson Montgomery trails. In 9 less games, Colson Montgomery has put up 0.1 less WAR than AL MVP Jose Abreu. Obviously, it's COVID season, but Colson Montgomery is 1 homer short of Jose Abreu's 2020. He is about 14 RBIs short of his 2020. He has the same strikeouts and nearly the same walks as Jose Abreu in 2020, obviously in less games. It's been absolutely absurd what Colson Montgomery has been doing as a Chicago White Sox. You should be thrilled and over the moon. And obviously, Jose Abreu is mainly a hitter. He doesn't get a ton of his WAR from being a first baseman defensively. A lot of Colson's WAR is made up of defensive WAR, but he's better than Tim Anderson was in 2020. TA 2.5 B WAR in 49 games, so similar 51 to 49. This is before the 2 games on Saturday and Sunday for Colson. But even then, Colson has a 133 OPS plus. TA that year had a 140 OPS plus. I mean, this is absurd what he's doing. I not even believed in the hype, but it just seemed logical that this would not happen. The guy was dealing with back injuries, was clearly the most talented shortstop in the White Sox system come spring training. Chris Getz knew it. Colson Montgomery knew it. And yet, back injuries led to him not being the starting opening day shortstop. And you see that April, and you're just thinking it's not even like confidence issues or like him not wanting to be there. It's his back. And then they send him down to Arizona. He really does nothing. They ask him, hey, Colson, what'd you change in Arizona? He's like, nah, not much. Stood up a little bit straighter, but I feel more confident. And then you even look at the AAA numbers. They're nothing special. And I found it interesting because I think this is the second time I've heard this. We'll run with it. One of them's from My Sox Summer on the 108 podcast. He said he was at a special signing for Colson Montgomery at Cork and Carey, talked to Colson Montgomery, and he asked, hey, what's been the success or reason for success? And Colson's like, I knew I was a major leaguer. Here I am in the major leagues. Let's have fun. Let's play. This kid was just bored. Like, no offense to Colson. The way to get promoted is, and to not be bored, is by hitting the hell out of the baseball. If you could be doing this at the major league level, how could you not be doing this at AAA? And real quick, 18 homers in 51 games. He is the 4th shortstop in major league history to have 10 plus homers in the first 51st games of their career. He joins Carlos Correa in 2015, who had 14. Trevor Story, who had 15 in 2016, and then Fernando Tatis, who had 12 in 2019. He has 3 more homers than those guys. Story got a $200+ million contract. Correa got 3 $200+ million contracts, and Fernando Tatis got over a $300 million contract. This is a serious problem for the White Sox. You don't just have 18 homers in 51 games, period. We don't have to buy into the hype. This is a warning. There is a Colson Montgomery in your area. Seek shelter.
That's what's been so impressive, is the consistency in the power category. This isn't a lot of players, especially players when they come up, let's just throw your mean Mercedes out there. They can get hot for a month, or they can rip maybe about 4 or 5 home runs in a 10 or 12 game span. And you're like, wow, this guy is white hot right now. But 18 in 51 games, that's what's been so impressive. And if you go just with the eye test, well, one, he wears a heating pad on his back, and he's still hitting home runs, which is awesome and amazing. But if you just watch the at-bats, though, sometimes with young players, I feel like they'll try and sneak attack on a fastball early in a count. They can feast off of maybe more mediocre or lower level pitching, But Colson seems to be, patience isn't the right word, but he knows how to spit on the stuff that I think the scouting report is trying to get him out on. Yeah. and he's definitely reeling in, and he's punishing the pitches in the danger zone, in the danger box that he wants him to be in. When he gets in there, he simply doesn't miss. So there's something going on that's a little bit more advanced than see-ball, hit-ball with him right now. And the scouting report, my last part about it is scouting reports cycle about every 20 to 24 games. So he's gone through 2 different changes now where you have to adjust and then adjust back, and he keeps hitting for this power. That's what's been so impressive for me.
Check Slack, because I did need graphics, and it's literally building off of that point. No, John Hosey in the chat saying Colson with 2 walks today as well. I think we're going to see more selectiveness from him. The more pitches you see, the more at-bats you get at the major league level. I think that his low walk rate will balance out because his strikeout rate isn't that high. And you look at his whiffs, he's not swinging and missing that much. We'll show you in a second. I have graphics in a second that Joey's putting together in a flash. We appreciate him for that. But even with his batted balls, like his BABIP's fairly low. I think it's explainable because a lot of his balls hit are fly balls. So, hey, you hit a fly ball 112 miles per hour, that's a home run. He's got 18 of them. When you hit a fly ball 89 miles per hour, that's a flyout. He also has a lot of those. It's not really like the Eloy Jimenez issue of just consistent killing of ants and earthworms with his 112 mile per hour ground outs. So it's a good issue to have. And if Colson can flatten out a swing just a hair, because I really don't even want him to change anything. I mean, you could see like even more of a dangerous hitter, because I think that the eye is there. I think that what stats will show you, the homers or places, the zone he's hitting homers off of and where he's not swinging and missing, speaks a lot to his success. All right, Joey has these loading in. So what's the first one you have? Oh, you got Colson. Yeah, throw that one in. So we have these by zones. This is his homers by zone. We're flashing this up on the screen. This is your classic. No, go back to that, Joe. Sorry. This is your classic 3 boxes at the top of the zone, 3 boxes in the middle of the zone, 3 boxes at the bottom, right? Your 3x3 strike zone, okay? In the middle square, if you're playing tic-tac-toe, right? In the middle square, there's a number 8. That means he's hit 8 homers down the middle of the plate. He's got 2 on the outer middle and outer away homer. He's got 3 in the lower middle column. He's got 1 low and in, and he's got 1 even out of the zone, out and away.
Is that the one that hit the pole?
I think that's
you
the
know
one
what I mean.
That, yeah,
that was the one cheapie that he's kind of had the whole time.
Absolutely, but that shows you exactly what Joey's saying. He is looking for mistakes. He is not missing mistakes. That's a major league hitter. He passes the sniff test. Like there are a ton of balls that you could just even watch with Luis Robert Jr., one of the more frustrating players in White Sox history. Like he'll just let pitches go right down the middle, and then the next one's a slider 15 feet off, and it's like, what are you doing up at the plate? Colson Montgomery knows what he's looking for, and he doesn't miss it. And by miss it, look at this zone. It's the same strike zone for those audio listeners. Same strike zone, 3x3. In the middle is his total amounts of whiffs. On middle pitches, he has 4 whiffs. So on the same zone that he has 8 homers, he has only swung and missed at 4. So if you're just looking at the swings of balls that he swung and missed at and hit homers on, he is 8 for 12. Obviously, that's not reality. He's definitely taken pitches down the middle. But when he wants to swing, he typically doesn't miss. Like he can swing at miss at pitches outside of the zone. You kind of want him to. You don't want him to put those balls in play, right? But when he gets pitches inside the zone, he's not swinging and missing. I think there's a clear hole in his swing. I think it's out and away, and I think fastballs up in the zone will challenge him, but that's most major league hitters, and we'll see how he reacts to it. But boy, Joey, come to me. But boy, if we're taking the temperature on Colson Montgomery, he's must-see TV. If you're a Chicago White Sox fan who has been waiting for water in the desert, Colson Montgomery is your bottle of Dasani. Well, no. Should probably pick a good bottle of water.
RC Cola?
It's your bottle of RC Cola. RC Cola, 0 sugar. Ooh, when I'm stuck in the oasis of White Sox abysmal baseball, I just need a crisp, refreshing RC Cola.
Who needs
0 sugar?
Yeah, who needs sugar when you've got the zip of Colson Montgomery's bat getting you up in the morning every day?
No expert in the chat saying, we've been stung too much as White Sox fans. I want to believe Colson is real, but we've had too many Palka, Mercedes, etc. Just real quick, because I've seen Palka thrown out and Mercedes thrown out. Mercedes wasn't a top 100 prospect. Palka wasn't a top 100 prospect. This kid is a different breed. You are comparing horses that run at Arlington compared to a horse that runs at the Kentucky Derby. These two are not alike, period. No expert, I'm not mad at you. You said it's not fair to judge it based on that, but it feels like our curse as White Sox fans. I hear you, but they picked him. Just like Shane Smith, they picked this kid. And it seemed like it was Mike Shirley's pick. We've been trusting of those. I think it's okay to let our guard down. I feel like I'm feeding a hurt dog, and it's like, I'm using those claws to like give it a treat, ever so slightly. We'll shorten up the claw, right? And then
Sarah McLachlan's
5 weeks from now, we'll be able to actually pet the puppy. Hit the thumbs up button for our weird similes here on the CHGO White Sox postgame show. We'll talk about Lenyn Sosa. We will talk about avoiding 100 losses. We'll talk about how that could possibly affect the number 1 pick in the 2026 MLB draft. Love you. We'll see you after the break. Mwah, bye. We want to let you know about our friends over at Four Seasons Heating, Air Conditioning, Plumbing, and Electric. They've been serving Chicagoland for over 50 years. You know the jingle. Call 866-4-SEASONS. Now is the time to get your air conditioning checked out, and Four Seasons experts are ready to help with your AC installation, maintenance, and repair. And hey, it's air conditioning, plumbing, electric, and heating. So maybe if it's just not going to get hot again and you need your heater checked out, call Four Seasons. Four Seasons are the experts, and they are the expert technicians that ensure you always receive reliable service. And Four Seasons doesn't charge more for service during nights, weekends, and holidays. Plumbing, electrical, heating, or cooling emergency. If you need a new hot water tank or generator, call Four Seasons with same-day installation and no extra charges for nights, weekends, or holiday. Your trusted local experts are Four Seasons Heating, Air Conditioning, Plumbing, and Electric. Visit FourSeasonsHeatingCooling.com for other special services or special offers and money-saving coupons. That's FourSeasonsHeatingCooling.com, 866-4-SEASONS. We also want to let you know about our friends over at Game Time, the way to experience a Major League Baseball game this year, or any sporting event, maybe even a concert, maybe the opera, maybe the theater. You got to use Game Time. Whatever the event, use our friends over at Game Time. The closer it gets to the start time or game time, prices go down, and this will save you a ton of money. It gives the advantages back to fans. It's a hack for unlocking amazing tickets and experiences in just a few taps. It's incredibly easy to use, and the Game Time guarantee means you can trust that you'll get 100% authentic tickets on time and at the best price. Plus, fees are always included, so you see what you pay, and you won't be surprised once you get to checkout, like, oh, hey, my tickets are actually $60 more because of all the damn fees. Our favorite ticketing app is our friends over at Game Time. Take the guesswork out of buying MLB tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code CHGO for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code CHGO for $20 off. Tap, ticket, go. Download the Game Time app today. Welcome back to the CHGO White Sox postgame show presented to you by Bet365. Use code CHGO365 when you sign up. Let's head over to the chat. We appreciate seeing all of our familiar faces, like No Expert, John Hosey, Victor Von Doom, Kevin M, also a familiar face, saying, how does Colson's WAR compare to Teel and Quero? There are 2 WARs out there. And WAR, what is it good for? Absolutely nothing. Colson Montgomery, according to B-WAR, 2.6 B-WAR, Edgar Quero 2 B-WAR, and Kyle Teel 1.9 B-WAR. They are not including Saturday and Sunday's game. Baseball Reference is not updated yet, but currently Colson leads in B-WAR by 0.5 over Quero. Quero and Teel are pretty much neck and neck at 2. You look at Fangraphs, Kyle Teel 1.9 F-WAR, Colson Montgomery 1.9 F-WAR, Chase Mydroth 1.6 F-WAR, and Edgar Quero is at 0.4 F-WAR. Quero is not graded out well as a catcher, mainly when it comes to framing and blocking. He has been valuable on pickoffs. Baseball Reference values pickoffs a lot more than Fangraphs does, and Fangraphs really emphasizes framing a lot more than Baseball Reference does. So that's why there's that discrepancy between Quero on Baseball Reference and Fangraphs. Really what it tells you is Kyle Teel is better than Edgar Quero when you just put it in the wash. 2 plus 0.4 and then 1.9 plus 1.9, you're going to get a better average because Kyle Teel averages out to 1.9. Edgar Quero under that. And two, I mean, Teal's just been more of a power hitter. I mean, Teel has a 134 weighted runs created plus, 292 average, 390 on base percentage, 436 slugging percentage. Quero had a 286 average, a 349 on base percentage, and a 390 slugging. Very, very good for a catcher. But I mean, Teel again, I mean, 292, 390, 436. That could play left field. That could play first base. I mean, that's a corner, dude. I mean, he is smashing. I agree with Casey. I mean, Kyle Teel is if Colson Montgomery is a problem, you got to seek shelter for Colson Montgomery. Kyle Teel is not too far behind. It's Twisters 2. It's the reboot. Someone call Glenn Powell. Mercy. All right. Thank you for letting me be stupid. Can we go scroll up too? We also love seeing new faces like Sex Machine, who says, yo. But up a little bit more, Joe. Up. Sorry. Up. I think someone said 10-7. 10 up. Sorry. There you go. John Hosey saying 10-7 during the 17-game stretch is great for him. A 17-game stretch with no off days from August 22nd to Sunday, September 7th. 17 straight games for your White Sox. They go 10-7. This is not just post All-Star break anymore. This isn't just like 2 weeks in July. They have made the post All-Star break White Sox a real thing. I said best case scenario for the White Sox would be this team getting as close to avoiding 100 losses as possible and getting the number 1 draft pick. They currently sit at 55-89 with what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Joey, do you know? 162. They've just played.
This should be
18.
About, I was going to say.
18. I know. I have a college degree. Believe it or not, I have a college degree. 18. So 18 games left. They need to go, what? What's 18 minus 11?
7?
7 and 11.
The magic number is 8. One guy says in the chat.
What's that?
One guy said in the chat it's a magic number is 8 to avoid 100 losses.
Oh, I guess. Oh, yeah. 11 would put them at 100. Why do I host this show? So they'd have to go 8-10 to avoid 100 losses outright, to go 63.
Yeah, they need to win 8 more games.
I mean, even then, are we mad at 100? Are we mad at 100? Well, it's not 101.
I think it's time.
It's a 3-digit number. I think they can avoid it. They play Baltimore, Cleveland, Tampa, the Padres, Yankees, and Nationals. They can win against the Nationals. They can win against Baltimore. They can win against Cleveland, and they can win against Tampa. You're good. Joey, what were you going to ask?
I was going to say, is it official with 18 games to go that the White Sox, we can put it to bed, we can put it to rest, this was a fun, bad season? We've gone back and forth on it.
I think
we've gone back and forth on what's the fun and what's the bad.
We stopped having that conversation once Colson's gone up. If you're not having fun, you just don't know what fun is.
Right. Well,
so no, that conversation went out the window. They're not even fun bad anymore. They're just fun, period. They've been so fun post All-Star break. I have been the most I've ever been locked in on White Sox baseball. And maybe that just feels like in the moment stuff, hey, maybe it's also because it's now my full-time job. But no, this is absolutely like I'm foaming at the mouth with excitement.
Yeah, they've had comeback wins. They've had multiple games of scoring 10-plus runs. They've had a guy that gets called up, Colson Montgomery, who's been absolutely awesome with 18 home runs in 51 games. We're talking about Kyle Teel. We're talking about Edgar Quero. Shane Smith has stood the test of time throughout the year. You know, Grant Taylor's been up and down, but, man, he is super fun to watch. Chase Mydroth has kind of come back after going through a little bit of a slump. There's plenty of stuff to talk about on a daily basis instead of just the state of the franchise or the state of being a White Sox fan. Put it to bed. Book it. I mean, you're already been there, but I hope White Sox fans are too. This has been a fun season, fun, bad season.
Absolutely. And, I mean, it's probably cherry on top to avoid 99. The Twins, though, are breathing down our necks when it comes to the MLB draft lottery. Right now, Sox are 55-89. Twins are 63-80. They no longer play each other. Sox are 14 games back of Colorado. Minnesota is 22 and a half games back. So Sox have Joey, you're my math guy. 8.
What? Give it to me again.
8.5. 22 and a half minus 14.
22 and a half minus 14 Is 8.5. You're correct.
So 8.5 lead. I mean, if they avoid 100 losses, that 8 wins is not good for that. So I feel a little iffy on that. I hope they can avoid. I would rather lose 100 and get the number 1 pick than lose that 25% and lose 99, because I think what we've needed to see is out there. Colson Montgomery's here. Kyle Teal's here. Edgar Caro's here. Mydroth is at least a bench piece. Shane Smith is in the rotation. I don't know if Martin Cannon or Burke are in the rotation, but they're a fun competition to watch. Maybe Martin Perez is back. And they also have like $75 million to spend in free agency if they're a proper baseball team. They spent, I think, about $75 million on this team. The only 2 contracts they have coming back are Robert and Benintendi. That's around $37 million. You think that with the coming in, or just the typical renewals, they'll probably be around $60 million. So they honestly probably have like $40 million to spend on free agents, which could, would be significant. So, hopefully we get that.
If Chris Getz came to you and had 2 briefcases into the offseason, and he said, Sean, I hate to break it to you. We can't spend on hitting. We can't spend on pitching. But I will spend on
That's baseball.
Huh?
we could spend on the monkeys.
Well, no, you said they
got to pick the monkeys that we have at halftime.
One briefcase has the milkshake. The other one has If you had your pick, if the White Sox were to go out, and let's just not get crazy here, but say they were able to commit multi-years to a player, would you prefer that it is a corner outfielder, a hitter, some sort of cornerstone to a lineup that the young players can hit around, or would you prefer starting pitching?
I'm confused. Oh, okay. I would rather have a bat. I think that the White Sox have enough starters that could possibly be a part of the rotation, whether it's Opper, McDougal, Schultz, Smith, whether it's an or an and a part of that. I think they have 4 guys that could possibly be in the rotation. And also, like, rotation guys aren't that expensive. Jose Quintana sat on the market last year forever, and he's been phenomenal. They like Martin Perez. Just bring him back. Like, give him his buyout and then just re-sign him for another $5 million rather than giving him $10 million next year. Like, I think that's going to be possible. But if they have $40 million to spend on, I don't think they'll get Pete Alonso, but, be in the conversation for Josh Naylor. I'd be excited for that. You look at the outfield, if you want to just make my heart happy, Kyle Schwarber could be the DH, We'll just put Beni in left field. I don't care. Have Kyle Schwarber be the DH. If Benny's batting 7th and Kyle Schwarber's my 4 hitter every single day, I'd be happy. People have brought up Tyler O'Neill before. He's interesting. He's got pop, but I don't know if I love him. Mike Yastrzemski's good.
I see a lot of Ryan O'Hearn, too, as well.
Send Hawk to the hospital if they said we signed Yaz's grandkid.
Omar coming out of retirement to talk about Yaz.
Yeah, he'd be on there every day. You just see Hawk sitting next to Jerry.
Hey, Stone Pony, remember me?
I remember his granddad.
I'm retiring.
I brought up Trent Grisham before. He's an interesting name. I like him. Willie Castro. I think he's a little bit too much of a utility knife rather than like a guy that you could put into the corner. Talkman's going to be a free agent, but I think they have an RBier on him. So do they, bring him and like Austin Slater back? Do they bring another right-hander in? I think Harrison Bader's a right-hander. They'll have options, and I think going after first base and corner should be the main aggression. If the true gift again is getting rid of Andrew Benintendi and freeing up that roster space, I'd love that. I know not to bring it up again, but let's see what the kids can do. Victor saying kids can play, loving it. Also give credit to Will Venable. I'd rather see what Will Venable can do with the young kids rather than the aging guys. And Benintendi's a part of that. So Jared says Schwarber, but you got to cut loose of Robert Jr. for nothing in return to pay for it. You doing it? No, because I think Robert has more long-term value than Schwarber. Schwarber is obviously like a good value buy, and he's going to give you 40 homers. But I think I am so tempted by Luis Robert Jr. I'd rather, talk myself into him playing 100 games because I'm stupid.
The other one too is I would agree with you too that even if, let's just say, Kyle Schwarber over a whatever span would hit more home runs or whatever it is, Luis Robert Jr. still gives you that flexibility where if you pick up that team option next year, you can still trade him. and get a lot in return, or he works out and then becomes a fixture in your lineup. Both those things can be true. I don't think you can sign Kyle Schwarber and then just trade him for a haul at some point during the course of that deal.
Yeah, I'd love to see Schwarber. Jared says Schwarber's going to cost $30 million, not per year. $30 million per year.
Yeah, I think 4 for 120, 100%.
They're not signing that. Never
He
mind.
did. So he did
I mean,
4
he's only a DH, but
yeah, he did 4 for 80.
I think I'm sleeping on this year. I'm not really watching Phillies baseball. Hold on.
No, I mean he's
Let me
having
roll over his stats.
he's having a monster year, man.
49 homers.
Yeah,
Yeah, he's like
100,000
Jim Thome.
RBIs.
Oh my God, 118 RBIs. Yeah, there's no way they're gonna let him walk. Yeah, I'd give him everything.
Yeah, 4 for 30
You know
a year.
what? Like that's like the thing about Colson. Like homers play, hitting the ball as hard as you can. Plays. Andrew Benintendi trying to slip a single over the shortstop head is just going to get old. And it's beatable. Like, sure, just slap a single. You know what you can't catch? A homer that is hit 3 decks up in Minnesota.
Well, you can, but you're a citizen and you're not in a uniform because you bought a paying ticket and it lands in your nachos and it ruins your nachos, but you get a ball out of it. Yeah. And then a woman comes running over and screams at you and says, "This is my ball."
Yeah. Well, and Jared in the chat says, these Luis Robert Jr.'s could work out. Sounds like Vaughn's luck will even out. We know Luis Robert Jr. is a talented baseball player. When he was healthy in 2023, he had 38 homers. And even this year, too, like his play wasn't perfect, but he was nearly a 20-40 guy with great defense. It's mainly about health. And that's really less about Vaughn being like luck. Like it's can Luis Robert Jr. stay healthy? It's a gamble, but I feel like it's more of a gamble than the 5'8" first baseman, gaining 3 miles per hour average on his exit velocity. We saw that in August from Vaughn, and it quickly faded in September. We saw that in July from August from Vaughn, and it quickly faded in August and September because it just wasn't sustainable. I think that Robert's play is sustainable if he's ever healthy. It's obviously a big if, but I don't think that Schwarber's gonna. I wouldn't do it. I don't know. Maybe I would do it. I'd have to talk myself into it. Final thing, because I think we put him in the headline and never talked about him. Lenyn Sosa hit a bomb today, 450, solo shot into the berm up in Comerica Park. The 29th homer since 2015 to go 450 at Comerica, so a huge homer from Lenyn Sosa. He also then had a 2 RBI. What was that, single? Single. It was the infield was in. He had it right up between the shortstop and the second base bag. Drove in Michael A. Taylor and someone else that I can't remember. I think it was Will Robertson. And then the Sox got that 6-4 lead. So Lenyn Sosa with some clutch hitting. I should have asked this to Casey Boguslaw because I do trust his baseball mind. I'm still not sold on Lenyn Sosa. You look at the top 12 players on this 2025 Baseball Reference. Adrian Hauser, 3 WAR. Colson Montgomery, 2.6 WAR. Mike Vassell, 2.4 WAR. Quero, 2 WAR. Teel, 1.9 WAR. Vargas, 1.7 WAR. Martin Perez, 1.6 WAR. Shane Smith, 1.5 WAR. Robert, 1.5 WAR. Talkman, 1.4 WAR. Chase Mydroth, 1.3 WAR. Davis Martin, 1.2. I understand that Lenyn Sosa leads the team in home runs. He's now 20th. His 20th on the year. He is the 68th White Sox player in history to hit 20 homers in a season. But I think this is like Daniel Palka. If you want to compare someone to Daniel Palka, compare the actual 25-year-old. Lenyn Sosa isn't good defensively. He cannot play second base. He is not comfortable playing first base. At the end of the day, Lenyn Sosa is a DH, and he's not a good one. He barely has an OPS plus at 100. He's an average hitter. When you designate someone to hit, you want them to hit. Quero and Teel are better hitters than them. I would rather see Quero or Teel be the DH right now than Lenyn Sosa, which then forces Lenyn Sosa to second base, which means we don't see Chase Mydroth play there defensively, which I'd rather see Chase Mydroth's defense, even though the bat isn't 20 homers, bat him 8th. That's what second basemen are for. I think there is an easy way to upgrade over Lenyn Sosa, and I think that he's been fun to watch, but I don't think that he's even that good of a hitter. John says Sosa's defense kills his WAR. He's only a 100 OPS player. He's not even like killing it offensively. Like, Colson's got a 133 OPS plus. Quero's at like a 108. I think Teal's around like a 129. Like, he's not even that good, respectfully. I just don't believe that a guy that doesn't walk that much is predicated on, positive batted ball data is going to be a true major league hitter. Quero's at 109. Sosa's at 100. Vargas is at 100. Beni's at 104. Talkman's at 115. Sosa hits better, when it comes to OPS plus than Luis Robert Jr., but Robert has 0.7 more WAR than him because of his ability to steal 40 bags and play a positive defense. So I like Lenyn Sosa the person. And every time I do this and bring up a Lenyn Sosa, anti-Lenyn Sosa comment, he goes out and hits a homer. So on Tuesday, go out and bet a Lenyn Sosa homer because he's going to hit one. I just don't think that he is the guy. I think that this is a Daniel Palka. He's not a Mercedes because Mercedes lasted a month. This is a Palka, though. I think Beef Loaf of the 108 compared it. And Palka ended with like 21 homers, around 100 OPS plus in 2019. That's the juice ball. So I'll give Lenyn Sosa a little bit more of credit. But I just don't think that he is the guy. Jared saying extend Lenny. 3 years, $16.5 million. Has that ever worked out before? Have we ever done that with a middle infielder?
Let's say that's the Larry Garcia deal.
That is the Larry Garcia.
It's the Larry Garcia special right there.
Right there. And Kevin M saying Tigers broadcast said it was Sosa's longest homer of the year. Yeah, Sosa hit that 450, which is absolutely insane. I'll get to the final comment too because we've been reading Jared's. Jared's also a diehard. If you want to become a diehard, scan the QR code. Joey's going to flash it. We appreciate you having us over there. I think we have a sale currently, but people are boycotting the Bears because we're terrible people. But you could sign up if you wanted to become a diehard. You get a shirt at the $59 tier, and then if you wanted to come to the Evil People's tailgates, you can upgrade it to an $89 tier. You get the free t-shirt and then 2 tailgate tickets.
I will be there tomorrow.
allchgo.com/join.
Evil tailgate.
The first tailgate is tomorrow, and Joey will be there for the Evil tailgate.
Drink from the cup.
Yes.
Free drinks, great food.
Free drinks.
Really good time. We're going to high five. We're going to high five and smile. And there'll be music, and it'll actually be a really great time. But whatever.
Jared's saying, though, my point is, regarding Vaughn and Robert, is we've seen what's consistent and we make comments that keep hope alive. We know what history says for both Vaughn and Robert. What it says for Robert is he's likely going to get injured. I absolutely hear that. But also, like, when he plays, he's very good. And I know that, even this year, the average wasn't that pretty, but I never thought I'd see his walk rate like that. I'm interested in what 2026 looks like because if his batted ball look turns at all, he is going to be better than Colson Montgomery, who I just drooled over. I feel very confident in that. I know what Luis Robert Jr. can do when healthy. And when is not only just like, if I was to type that out on a computer, close your eyes, think about a Microsoft Word document. We're typing 12 point times New Roman. Luis Robert Jr., okay, now we're going to change for just these 4 letters to 48 point times New Roman when, back to 12, healthy. Like, I understand how big and how much lifting when is doing. So I hear you, but it's not even consistency about him. Like, I know that he is going to be a guy that displays all of the 5 tools. They may never be in the same game. They may never be in the same week, but I know that I'll be tantalized by his play. So I'll be here. And Jared will be at the tailgate wearing purple. Boo! Boo! We appreciate you, Jared. Wow. Love all our diehards and love everyone hanging out with us. Hit that thumbs up button and make sure you're subscribing to the CHGO Sports YouTube channel. Ooh, Jared's going to 2 of the 3 Rays games. Ooh, maybe we go see Jared. Maybe we try to catch a Colson Montgomery home run. Hit that thumbs up button. Make sure you're subscribing to the CHGO Sports YouTube channel. This has been the CHGO White Sox postgame show presented to you by Bet365. Thank you to Joey Christopoulos, our producer. Thank you to Casey Boguslaw for setting me straight. You finally got a voice, Andrew Benintendi, on the CHGO White Sox postgame show. If the White Sox are listening, please have Andrew Benintendi come on the show. I will cower in fear because I'm a chicken. Anyways, we'll talk to you on Tuesday.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, that's the first game of the Tampa game.
Yeah, Tuesday, Thursday this week.
So
come hang out with us.
Enjoy the Bears show on Monday, and hopefully we get a Bears winner, and then we'll be back with the White Sox on Tuesday. Bye-bye.
all silly like the mayor.